more about the moments that led up to an off-duty NYPD officer shooting a man with a gun. According to the department, that man tried to carjack the officer at gunpoint while he was on his way home from work. News 4's Miles Miller's been looking into this. He's live in the Canarsie section. Miles, you talked to a witness?
That's right. That witness saw it all. He heard it. He didn't know where the shots were coming from, dropped down to the floor, but then got back up, looked out the window, and saw an officer with his gun drawn asking for backup.
Surveillance cameras rolling as an NYPD detective leaving the office encounters a man with a gun and is forced to take action.
One after the other. Pop, 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 pop.
Investigators say the detective signed out of work just after 2, and as he drove towards Foster Avenue in Canarsie, encountered 28-year-old Ahmad Nichols.
Our subject, who was carrying a firearm, tapped on the member of the service's driver's side window. Our member of the service tried to pull off to get into a safety position. He exited his vehicle, at which time our subject fired one round.
That's when the detective gets out of the car and opens fire 7 times, striking the suspect 4 times in the chest. He was taken to Brookdale Hospital, where he's expected to survive. Louis Laza heard and saw the whole thing.
I saw the car right there. I saw the guy on the floor be right behind the car, and I saw the officer. Now we know he's an officer. I saw him with his pistol in his hand, and he looked like he was very distraught.
Police say this all started inside Flava's 2. It's a bar and restaurant down the street there. They say that is where Nichols got into an argument with a man, got into a fist fight, and lost. He then called friends, asked them to bring him a gun, and then fired off shots there as well. He then started to make his way into this parking lot here. You'll see that there are some officers in the middle of that parking lot. That is where police say they found a shell casing after he fired his gun indiscriminately at a car that was driving by.
These are the weapons cops found on Nichols: a knife, revolver, and a derringer he hid in his rectum. Detectives Union President Paul DiGiacomo says the detective involved is doing fine, but added it's a good thing he was there in the first place.
If it wasn't an off-duty detective that was the victim of this potential crime, it would have been a civilian leaving that location, and he could have been shot or she could have been shot.
And so important to note that no one else was injured in this shooting. Coming up at 5:30, you'll hear a lot more about the suspect who was involved in the shooting. We are live in Canarsie. I'm Miles Miller, News 4.